So what is the view in DC from the people you talk to about this primary season that's coming to an end?
I love this question. The primary season has not been an anti-Republican thing. It's been an anti-incumbent thing. There are incumbents dropping to underfunded challengers left and right, politically speaking, literally speaking.
Yeah.
We just saw another one last night. Andy Ogles,
Yeah.
Trump-adoring Republican in his second term in Tennessee, lost to a state agriculture commissioner. Andy Ogles has a series of prior controversial statements, some real menacing on social media that he's been blamed for. He lost, but he was Trump endorsed. Ooh, incumbent loses in a primary is rare in America.
Yep.
Trump endorsed Republican congressman loses in a primary.
Yep.
That's a problem. It's not the first Trump endorsed person to lose this week. So did somebody in Michigan running in the Michigan 8th district near Flint. Trump endorsed, lost to somebody who dropped out of the race. So we have an anti-incumbent sentiment on the Republican side, and you better believe we have one on the Democratic side. You saw it happen.
I know we do.
Boom, boom. 2 incumbents ousted in their primaries in New York City. Unheard of. A third anti-establishment primary nominee or candidate won elsewhere in New York City. Colorado, a woman who's been here for 3 decades, lost her primary. I think you're seeing anti-incumbent sentiment. Both parties have it. It's the story of the primary season. We haven't seen incumbents drop in primaries like this in my time here. I've been here 23 years. And oh, by the way, so did Bill Cassidy. So did John Cornyn. Lost. And the one that was perhaps the most telling is one that didn't get a lot of attention. The Democratic senator from Colorado, Michael Bennet, known quantity, overwhelmingly won his Senate races, lost his pursuit of the Democratic gubernatorial nomination in Colorado. That, to me, is the symptom of an anti-incumbent sentiment. I don't know what this means for November. Anti-incumbent sentiment means nobody better feel safe in their seats. There are no really, really safe seats right now because people want to throw the bums out. And that means the people, not one party. Everybody wants to throw the bums out.
I feel like that's completely correct. I also feel like the animating force of the throw the bums out sentiment is different in the Republican primaries than the Democratic primaries. And I feel like it's mostly, with a few exceptions you name, mostly on the Republican Party, it's they haven't been loyal enough to the president.
Yep.
They've been
the exception of Tennessee. That's right.
Right. Mostly that's what it is. On the Democratic side, it has been the era of let's make a deal's got to be over. We want to get stuff done. And anybody who isn't like storming the Capitol in a peaceful way, but determined to get things done is not going to be our guy anymore. So they feel different to me.
The enthusiasm gap is one issue, and the generic ballot's a second issue. Let me explain them both. First of all, the enthusiasm gap, even in a throw the bums out election, favors Democrats. Democratic turnout in their primaries is a lot higher than Republican turnout in their primaries. Feels like Democrats are jonesing to vote more than Republicans are. It's going to benefit Democrats no matter who they nominate. No matter who they nominate, that helps the Abdul El-Sayeds of the world. That helps the Democratic Socialists of the world. That helps frontline Democrats trying to cling to their seats. Everybody's benefiting when the Democrats are this eager to vote once they've chosen their nominees.
Yeah.
The generic ballot issue, this is why a throw the bums out election favors Democrats too, because the generic ballot says there's an 8-point spread for Democrats because the public tends to view Republicans as in charge. You know why they view it that way? Because Republicans are in charge, because they are. So if you want to throw the bums out, the independent voters and the perhaps the more tepid Democratic voters are in on the joke. They know who's actually running things. The chaos inside the anti-establishment movement inside the Democratic Party should be done when the primary season's done. It's still a big problem for independent voters and soft Democratic voters on November 3rd, if you're the GOP.
Well, as I say, not being a reporter, but being a partisan in this, I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
I just look at numbers. And again, that's how we differentiate journalists. They have receipts. I'm going to bring facts and numbers to the party here. When I say this favors Democrats, I see the generic ballot polling. I see 2 different gold standard analysts, the Cook Political Report and the Center for Politics at the University of Virginia. They are shifting all their forecasts towards blue. And they're not doing so because they're being paid to or they have any motivations. Their motivation is to be right.
Yeah. So a couple things can happen between now and November. Democrats can make a lot of mistakes on the campaign trail, and some will, no question.
Bet the farm on it.
Yep. Republicans can get their act together and start governing better and make Americans feel like they care about them.
That's somebody else's farm on that, but sure.
They could right. I don't think that's going to happen either. And I think, right, given that they control everything, if they don't decide, I'm so gobsmacked, it's hard to talk about this. So that a memo went out to Republicans about what they should do when they're home for vacation. And I read it and it's like, okay, well, first you have to say, brag about the good stuff in the one big beautiful bill. Yeah. And then say we're taking on elites and getting rid of Biden era tax giveaways to the rich. And when I got through laughing about putting those two things together, the thing I noticed is that one thing it never does is say, like, ask voters what they think, because right now they work for the boss and their job is to go home and sell. And Americans, we have been subject to more marketing than any human beings on the planet. We know when somebody's coming to sell and when somebody's coming to listen. And I just don't think this is a time to come and sell that stuff.
If I was being hazed and I was required to write that memo, I'd probably write the same things. You got to tout the things you passed. People aren't thrilled with costs. People aren't thrilled with the fact they can't afford college, housing, or groceries. Might as well tout the big, beautiful bill because it was something passed that aimed to fix some of the problems. Whether it does or not, got to do that. I'm not sure what else you would tout, but that's the problem. They're walking around with a losing hand. Today's jobs report showing a 23,000 job loss across America this month. That stuff was kryptonite in 2010. Those jobs reports to Democrats. They got their butts handed to them in the midterms. Those jobs reports were banging them every month. You can see a similar scenario here. There's no good argument to make about the state of the economy, no matter how much Trump tries to.
And we are at war. And that's not, Pete Hegseth is going to lose this war twice because we were told it was over and it's a new war. Americans don't like that either, I don't think.
The war is unpopular for several reasons. It always is going to be. It should be in this context because it's wasn't declared officially by Congress. In fact, Congress has voted to deauthorize this thing to reassert its war power authority. It's economically devastating, and I don't think people know what the exit strategy is because I'm not sure what the exit strategy is because I'm not sure they know what the exit strategy is. This thing will remain unpopular. A war with popularity in the tank in its opening months. That's a hell of a political liability.
Well, and voting, help me understand this, and then I'll let you go. But Congress voted that the Epstein files should be made public, and then they weren't. They're going to confirm the guy who made sure they weren't in another vote. Congress voted to deauthorize this war in Iran. They're going to vote to give them a whole lot more money for the war in Iran.
Maybe. I got to tell you, I don't know how they do that. I know they have to. They have to. So maybe they will do it. I don't see the pathway right now to getting those $80 billion Trump's asking for the war. May not be your question, but that's a real problem.
They'll make it part of the trillion that they're going to do generally, and then they'll futz with it inside the department. Sure. But I don't know how Republicans go campaign on just those two things. Like this is what we voted to do. Oh, wait a minute. This is what we voted to do. Just if I'm in a debate with them, I'm going to say square that.
Campaigning so much is not a battle over the answer to the question. The campaigning is a battle over who gets to ask the question. If they're talking about the war, they're talking about tariffs or prices. I don't know how they can justify their performance over the last 2 years because nobody feels those things are in a good place.
Yeah.
If they want to talk about, men and women's sports, they want to talk about democratic socialism and the encroachment of socialism. They want to talk about things that are in the, I suppose, the values voter bandwidth. They have the capability to mechanize those things. They have done so recently. Yeah. It's a battle over the question. And
the question
But they're fighting in a different terrain. They're fighting in a world where everybody's in their own information silo where they feel comfortable. And there are enough voters in the silo of, we talk about men and women's sports every freaking day, that they can actually mechanize this. And if you put on some of these red news silos, you don't even know that the reflecting pool case was dropped. You don't even know that there was a terrible jobs report today. So if people stay in their cocoons, you actually can campaign pretty effectively on just the crap.
Yeah, 30% maybe. I mean, people still have to buy gas. They still have to buy food. There's nothing you can do about that, you know.
Those 30% will win you a Senate race.
They might.
Kansas, maybe. Those 30% will win you a Senate race in South Carolina.
They're not going to win all the races. That's for sure. It's a tough campaign.